Hi, Dr. Ahonsi.
Hey,
Hi,
nice to
welcome.
meet you.
My name is Carol. Yeah,
nice
very
to
nice
meet
to
you.
meet you. The UN China organized the 2020 International Youth Day Dialogue, which is very exciting because it gets the youth involved and try to encourage broader youth participation in the SDGs. So how did UN China come up with the idea, and what were the key goals you were trying to achieve?
This year is a milestone for the United Nations and the world. It marks 75 years of the founding of the United Nations. We need to remember why the United Nations was created. The world was emerging out of the Second World War, where more than 50 million people lost their lives. And the leaders at that time came together to say, never again. We have to create an institution that ensures that we have peace and security, that we have development for everyone, and that the rights of people are promoted and guaranteed. And that to prevent conflict and to ensure the sustenance of peace, you required international cooperation and multilateralism. We felt the UN 75 initiative should be about having a global conversation in order to elicit the ideas, the perspectives, the views of the world, of the people of the world, about how to address these global challenges, especially in the context of multilateralism and international cooperation. Remember, the United Nations Charter starts with we the peoples. It doesn't start with we the government or we the companies. It starts with we the peoples.
We the people as one people.
And if you look at the world today, what we have, for the first time in history, we have the largest cohort, largest population of young people. We will never have 2 billion people aged 10 to 19 again. We will never have, because fertility rates are coming down everywhere in the world. So this is the largest cohort of young people. In many countries in the developing world, young people between 15 and 29 are about 25% to 30% of the population. And we have committed in 2015, September 2015, all the heads of government came together and said we will create a fairer, a more prosperous, and a healthier planet. And that is why we signed up to the Agenda 2030 and its Sustainable Development Goals. Now, in order to create a better world, to use UN 75 as a way of getting ideas from all the peoples of the world to create a better future. This future belongs to the young people. And so if we are trying to design ways of creating a better future, a world of sustainable development, the world that we want, we must listen to the voice of young people. We must elicit their ideas and perspectives and the solutions that they are proposing for addressing the global challenges.
In 2020, the UN marks its 75th anniversary, in a time where the lives of young people in China and across the world continue to be upended by the COVID-19 pandemic. With only 10 years remaining to make the 2030 Agenda a reality, the UN 75 initiative was launched to build the world's biggest dialogue revolving around these global challenges. UN China organized a series of 12 events, the Chinese Youth Dialogue on the Future. Nearly 700,000 applications and 10,361 proposals were received within just 1 month, with youth actively contributing to designing solutions to address the world's biggest challenges.
In the end, we had 11 dialogues around issues like comprehensive sexuality education, around issues of food sustainability, food security, how do you deal with food waste, around issues of digital literacy, access to digital platforms, around issues of gender inequality, how do you empower women and girls, a range of issues, the environment, how do you redesign the cities of today, how do you redesign the cities of today, given our experience with COVID-19, so that cities can become spaces, places for achieving sustainable development goals. Cities can be run in a way that are environmentally friendly and sustainable.
通过集 衣机与宿舍空调外机一体的机制，移除烘衣机，并使用空调外机出口风作为代替，以此减少烘干衣物带来的电量浪费。
就我们一起来为我们的地球比一个心，这个心呢是我们爱地球，也爱自然。
And in a way, we've seen the youth grown past the me generation. So they do not only care about themselves, do not only care about financial gains, but they care about much more because this is the planet that they will inherit. But we just need to find a way to help them to find their passions, and they need to be empowered in a way to find tools to work on these issues. So I guess UN is trying to come up with ways, help them to find their passions and help them to find a platform for them to voice their opinions.
But youth engagement goes beyond just listening to young people. It's not enough, otherwise that is just tokenism. In addition to listening to them, we must capacitate them. Young people who have formed organizations, they have all kinds of initiatives. They want to create a better world. They are trying their own ways of doing things. So it's incumbent upon us as institutions, as adults, as older people, as governments, as private sector entities, as media houses, to ensure that we provide young people with the tools and resources that they need for materializing their ideas, the solutions that they propose. So whether it's in terms of not just financing, credits and so on, loans and so on, but also providing them with leadership, with mentorship, with training, ensuring that their institutions, the organizations that they have created are able to thrive. I think it is important for me to stress that young people are not a homogeneous group.
Of course, just like any group.
Like any group. So you always have to be sensitive to the issue of diversity, inclusion, equity. So how do we ensure that young people living with disabilities are able to participate in all these processes? So if you create technologies that a young person with visual disability cannot use, that technology would exclude young people with visual disabilities.
我们视力障碍者可以接听电话的验证码，但是把这个滑块拖到右边去补全图案，很抱歉，这个真的做不到。我相信，好的设计一定是通用的，一定是尊重差异的，一定是能够体现人性的，给每一个人带来温暖，而不是生硬的把一部分人排除在外。
And look at our cities, the way we build our cities, our transportation systems. Are they inclusive enough for persons with physical disabilities? Now, disability is one axis of inequality, but so is gender, so is income, so is rural-urban residents, and so on and so forth. And you know, we need to be sensitive to that, even in dealing with young people. So the opportunities that are available are not necessarily equally available to a young woman versus a young man. We have to be cognizant of this reality. And in mobilizing youth action, you know, for responding to global challenges, we have to ensure that we do so in an inclusive way, in a way that taps the energy, the resourcefulness, the innovation, the forward-looking spirit of all groups of young people, not the elite youth or the highly educated youth in urban areas alone, but young people broadly defined.
That's why I feel the UN Youth Dialogue this time was very special.
Yeah.
Because one includes a digital campaign, right? Utilize the digital platform to encourage broader youth participation. Second is that the format is so diverse. There's poetry, there's debate, there's proposals, and there's singing. So people with different talents can participate.
它是关于身体的广泛课题，从诞生直至死亡，而非仅指一类行为。它是关于生活的常识，包含自尊自爱，而非仅是面红耻辱。它被世界曲解在阴暗面几千年，如今阳光下，让我们正确地普及它。全面性教育，关于身体、生活与世界。
志
错本身无罪，但是每一次失败都是有成本的。
放弃年薪100万的工作与放弃月薪6000的工作，哪一个机会成本更小？
往往选择先创业，并不是为了温饱或者是成为富翁富婆，而是希望时代的钥匙掌握在我们自己的手中，从而更好的改变和影响世界。
让世界和平，让地球更平衡安宁，在这一刻起，上球让世界变得更加美丽。
With only 10 years left to deliver the SDGs, it is important, more than ever before, for young people to mobilize in this decade of action.
To Babatunde, everyone who participated in the youth dialogue is a superstar. He was so impressed with how mature and creative the youth of China are, and how firmly they believe in the Sustainable Development Goals.
建立一个饥饿环境 VR 体验馆，运用虚拟现实技术，让人们亲身的去体验饥饿。
We need to remember that today, actually in reality, we produce enough food. The problem is along the supply chain, along the production, the food supply chain, there's a lot of waste. So 1/3 of the 1.3 billion tons of food that we produce is wasted. And that is why you have the kinds of issues that we have with food sustainability and food security in many countries. For a young person to come up with ideas, young people to come up with ideas around how you can deploy digital technologies, including artificial intelligence, big data, virtual reality, and so on, to address the issue of food waste also stood with me, because it's at the core of some of the challenges we need to address today. And COVID-19 has created such huge disruptions to economic production, to agricultural production, that now more than ever, we need to address the issue of food waste. And young people were proposing concrete ideas, concrete solutions for addressing food waste. We cannot really achieve these ambitious goals if we do not do things differently. And we need to take advantage of social media platforms, but we also need to reform the way governments are run. We need to ensure that institutions are actually more inclusive. We need to ensure that our economic practices, put at the heart of them the human person and his or her well-being. And if we do that, we will see progress. But we mustn't lose the opportunity, provided by COVID. COVID-19 is disrupting societies, communities, countries so significantly that we just have to restructure, redesign the way we do things. And if we do that, then this crisis might, in the end, turn out to be a blessing in disguise. And we need to tap into the energies of young people, the passion, the zeal for change of young people. There's such an asset, such a huge potential within young people. I think we can do better to make sure that young people help us to drive progress towards sustainable development. If we do all of those things, I'm optimistic that we will begin to see the kind of change that we want to see.
And that's how we can still have a future. We can still have our planet to live on.
Absolutely, and that is why young people are so critical as actors for achieving this future that we want.
The passion and innovation of today's youth give hope and motivation to everyone. As both a millennial and a mother of 3, I'm optimistic that my children and their whole generation will inherit a world that is better than the one today, and that these leaders of tomorrow will use their innovative and creative energy to further shape the world for their next generation.
女性无需向现实妥协，只要敢于打破性别偏见，我们依然可以拥有无限的可能。
环境保护从来不是一个口号，不是空洞化的议题。保护环境就是在保护我们自己。
当我们把这些微小的力量聚集在一起时，就足以改变世界。
扶贫路上，我们始终是困难群众的同行者，我们在用自己的工作去兑现国家对人民的承诺，这就是我们280万驻村干部、第一书记的使命和责任。
结束新世纪。